Hello, welcome to my end of the month update video. Um, what set out to do for May 2026 was to create a career development reevaluation video by the 15th, and followed by a mock-up of a portfolio website and a video updating on that progress by the 29th. And there were other things that I wanted to do, but these were the two main things that I wanted to get done by May 2026. What happened was there was a lot of information and emotion to sort through as I worked on the career development evaluation video, and I didn't recognize that and reduce the scope and time. So I missed the self-imposed deadline, and I couldn't think of doing anything else until I got to the end of it. In other news, I got my TOPIK results back, and I am a level 5. And that's great. I feel like I would have a lot of progress if I practiced writing, but writing in a short amount of time is not my strong suit, so to say. I also learned that it's a lot of pressure to draw for the camera, but I also suffered from not making the time to make art. Well, for the rest of this video is what I managed to put together for the career development evaluation. So my current situation is that I am underemployed. I'm working part-time instead of full-time, and a little directionless to what kind of career I want to pursue. And I think this underemployment is a result of some personal weaknesses that came about from some disruptive events throughout my childhood and adolescence that I think interfered with the development of the necessary skills. But so these weaknesses include anxiety, low confidence, some unhealthy self-motivation techniques. I've stopped using those methods and having a hard time trying to stay up to continue to have that same level of discipline without resorting to those unhealthy methods. I think I was poorly socialized due to some social isolations. And I had some late acquisition of, I have self-management skills. I just developed them later during my 20s instead of earlier. I lacked self-advocacy skills. I still kind of do. So I don't really know how to promote my strengths. Presentation skills, as you can probably realize by now. And I think a big one is networking, creating, and maintaining relationships. And yeah, so the rough timeline of disruptive events are I relocated Then there was I was hospitalized due to pneumonia early on in my life, relocated again. There was some weird grade placement incident. And then there was another relocation event, which led to some isolation and remote schooling, followed by some familiar tragedies, and then the big disruptive event that affected us globally, which also had isolation and remote schooling. And because of my previous isolation and remote schooling experience, it wasn't really bad. Well, I transitioned to it pretty quickly, but any sort of social isolation is it's bad. But anyways, what I did have, I feel like it's a little weaker now, but what I did have was a growth mindset, that believing that if I put an effort into it, I can overcome my weaknesses. And I put a lot of time and effort in learning as much as I could, but I didn't know where to focus my efforts, I think was the problem. Over the last couple years, I think I have less anxiety and a little bit more confidence, but I can't tell if that's just overall just natural maturing into late adulthood, like late adulthood into adulthood, from young adult to young adulthood. And I have some improvement in interpersonal skills. So recently, on top of feeling a sense of stagnation, despite I don't feel like I'm more competent than I was before, but I do feel like I should be able to accomplish things, whereas before I didn't believe I could even handle a part-time job. And right now I'm kind of lacking motivation, goals, where to put my attention, focus to. I can't tell if this is a general feeling or just like a temporary feeling right now at this moment, because I just had my period, so it could just be the blood loss talking. So onto the skills that I have. So from basically this the process of evaluating my skill set, I finally understand what soft and hard skills are and what transferable skills are. I'm using a list of skills from Indeed's 120 skills to put on your resume. So of the soft skills, I have active listening, storytelling, written communication, editing, teaching. A lot of that is from school, and a lot of that is from my tutoring job. Like, for example, active listening, I have to listen to my students and figure out where they're coming from. I'm not quite sure whether I have how I come across, because I can't see myself, so I don't know what my body language is or if my nonverbals are. Pretty good at documenting. I think I'm okay with reporting. Even though I'm not very good at presenting, I do have that skill. good at summarizing. I've been summarizing my D&D sessions. Definitely not negotiating. I do think I could do better for inquiring. I think maybe customer service. Maybe. Let's change that to a maybe. And then interpersonal skills. So starting with the lower ones, caring, empathy, compassion. I don't know if those are skills, because I feel like those are traits more like. I think what's more important is having patience, which apparently I do. Think I care. I can be compassionate, but it is also depending on my mood. So I think what's more important is having that opposite of compassion. What am I talking about? Having that judgment to know what a person needs, being patient with them, and acting appropriately. If you know me personally, I don't think, like, I struggle with being positive, but I come across as very positive and enthusiastic in the workplace. It seems like, based on my employee evaluations. I don't have much work experience for conflict management and mediating, but I do a lot of that with my D&D groups. I don't want to, but I do. So coaching, I coach my students. I really need to work on networking. I'm not sure if I am inspiring, because this is something someone has to tell me. I don't know. Yeah. Flexibility, to a point. I try to be flexible as much as possible, but not as flexible as I think I want to be. I'm good with collaboration, sourcing feedback. I don't know what this means. Asking for feedback, yes. Having people to get feedback from, that's more like, depends on my network. Reliability, very reliable, due to my work ethics. I think that's everything for interpersonal skills. Critical thinking. I put green on everything, because high school, college, big emphasis on developing critical thinking skills for students. So yeah, it's inductive reasoning from science classes, deductive reasoning from discrete math and philosophy, assessing, evidence collecting. Yep, a lot of projects and labs, cost benefit and analyzing. Do it all the time. Brainstorming, creative thinking. Yep. Leadership skills. Mentoring for students. Goal setting. I think I'm pretty good at goal setting, like reasonable goals, as long as it's not me. For other people, I think I'm pretty good at goal setting. I'm having trouble envisioning. A lot of problems I come across for me specifically is that if I can't um, see the end product, I have a hard time starting on a project. Um, so, and employee development, never had an opportunity to do that. Performance review, never had an opportunity to do that. Um, I manage my students. Planning, I love planning, maybe a little bit too much. Delegating, somewhat. Working as a team, I have to delegate some tasks to other instructors in the center. Don't have this opportunity, don't have that opportunity, don't have that opportunity. Not sure. Crisis management for when I took an EMT course, maybe definitely a little bit better than I think some people. But I don't know if it's worth putting it down as my skill set. Adapting as much as I could, influencing, not sure, because I have to interact with people to know if I have that influence. Earning trust, I say a maybe. I think I have to, because when working with kids, kind of have to have them trust me. Analytical skills, mostly from school, calculating, computing, graphing. Not sure what processing means, but maybe organizing, information processing, interpreting, researching, statistical analysis, surveying, investigating. I should put a check mark there. The thing is, I can't. No, that's right. I don't know if I have that investigations skills, or at least focus investigation. Forecasting, predicting, extrapolating. I think this is more like advanced. I can, in school, mostly any modeling, that was just more of linear modeling, not quite any of the advanced ones that would be useful. We got language skills, translating. I see a maybe. Maybe I need to update this to a yes. Speaking, I should be. Writing, conversing, reinterpreting, should be. Public speaking, definitely no. Following etiquette, if I know the etiquette, yeah. Explaining, I do that for work. Respecting, I think I'm in a weird place for respecting, because my baseline level of respect, I think, is more like fear. I think that's where a lot of anxiety comes from, because I think I am more proactive if I actively disrespect someone. I don't know. I'll have to come back to this. Signaling, not quite. Proofreading, sure. Introducing, definitely not. Representing, not, no. There was this, I remember an activity in, I think, writing class, where I had to interview a partner and get some information about themselves, and then introduce my partner to the rest of the class. I am so befuddled, because my partner sounded amazing, and I just gave some random facts about myself, and then reiterated their facts poorly. But when it was their turn to introduce me, they made me sound so amazing, which made me doubt what they said about themselves. And I don't know. I don't know. Rephrasing, maybe code switching. Oops. It's fine. I don't know. Next. So my hard skills, so this is like actual like services that I should be able to provide. So like writing, teaching, data, lab stuff, EMT, art. I can't do this anymore. It's expired. Programming, UX, Korean. So how ready am I on those? Writing, probably. Teaching, I can, but I'm gonna need credentials, and that's gonna take a while. Data work, like analysis, maybe after another 6 months, maybe after I've developed a portfolio. Lab, I feel like I lost most techniques, although they tell you that it doesn't really matter. They're gonna have to retrain you anyways, because every lab is a little different. But I don't know. EMT, I lost it. It's expired. Art, I think it's a medium. I think it's enough to start providing art services. Programming, I'm gonna need a portfolio before I feel confident enough. Same thing with UX. Korean, find out. I'm a level 5. I don't know what that means. Probably, because that means I'm able to attend college there, university there. So using EMT as an example, if I use only the experience within that 2 years, neuroscience, all that related fields, that is knowledge outside of that 2-year window. So I'm gonna put it down as familiar, but I haven't been up to date with the information. So I know the basics of UX UI research. I'm gonna need to practice it more, create a portfolio to actually be any use. I have advanced mathematical knowledge. I think this is mostly foundational, because I've done linear algebra and discrete math within the last 2 years. D&D knowledge, yep. I've done illustration, I think that's intermediate. Content creation, basics. Korean level 5, teaching basic math to young students, pretty proficient, I believe. What I learned from my career explorations are, so I've explored healthcare, and I do admire jobs under the realistic category according to the Holland Code, but I don't think it's for me. Lab and academia, I don't think I have the passion to like study research for years. Data analysis, linear algebra would be the basis for a lot of that. And during the class, I started hating my screen, so I think that means something. UX and web dev, I felt pretty good working on that in 2023. So I think it's because I like more project-based assignments. Illustration, there's been some progress over the years, but I'm gonna need more self-promoting to actually make this something. Writing, I've been writing summaries for a couple years now, or maybe a year, yeah. So there's some progress there. Other things I learned is that I like making templates for people to use. I like creating summaries for people. I like making assets for people to use. I like having a clear beginning and end to the things I do. I like discussing and collaborating. I like being part of a team. I also like having some independence to go on my own pace. And I feel stressed to be alert all the time. Meeting strangers for the first time as well. So, and then based on my own interest profiler, I got a artistic conventional investigative. My best fit jobs are technical writer, which apparently is a nearly perfect fit, web and digital interface designer, desktop publisher, cartographer, and photogrammetrists. Don't know what that means. Architectural and civil drafters, web developers, and based on what I did, I think web and digital interface designer and web developers would be good to pursue based on because I have some exposure to that. And then the next category would be the good fit jobs. So the top 10 would be mathematician, video game designer, historian, proofreader and copy markers, data scientist, computer programmer, commercial and industrial designer, software designer, graphic designer, bioinformatics scientist, because there's a lot of computer software things on this. I thought about getting a degree in computer science or programming, but like again, around last year, I started feeling sick of having to prepare to do things and just want to start doing things. And again, highlighted what I think I might have affinity for. Definitely closer to graphic designer rather than historian. And because I struggle with mental health, based on an article from Psych Plus about some low stress jobs to support mental health. Got freelance writer, graphic designer, photographer, illustrator, content creator, and others. I've highlighted some jobs that I think would be good to pursue based on some experience or exposure to that. Such as Illustrator, could do that. Technical support, I haven't done it, but based on some assessment tools on which tech careers would be a good fit, usually I get data analyst or technical support. But of these categories, I think I like to be creative and independent, but also being in a supportive environment. So I don't know what kind of career would lead me there, but I think that's my preference. Library assistant is in there because I have volunteered for my local library before. Social media manager, I think I can do that. Administrative assistant, I think I can do that. Data entry clerk, sure. Lab tech, according to my supposedly with a neuroscience major, lab tech would be like an obvious next step if I'm not going straight into grad school. But I've been applying for lab technician jobs for a while. The the competition in the Los Angeles area is fierce, and I haven't been able to secure one. So yeah, technical writer from the ONET profiler results, audio editor, medical coder. I feel like I could do those things. And now talking about some dreams and inspiration. I went back to look over my bucket list, and a good percentage of those things were about designing and making products. I look up to content creators who make products, or like do projects, such as Simone Getch. I think that's how I pronounce her name. No, Yetch. Yeah, Simone Yetch. That's what it is. I have ideas of games. Games where hopefully that would promote learning through discovery and play, such as like a tower defense game, but it's themed, but it's an immune system themed, learning folklore and world history through tabletop RPGs, like a mineral cycle simulation game, stuff like that. I guess the next step, based on all the information I've gathered, would be to actually try to get freelance gigs as an illustrator, and then slowly work up to other services like designing, UX related work, and then maybe front end web development. I've talked to my brother, and I think it'll be cool if I worked on the front end and he'd work on the back end, and we'd be a unit. That would be a cool thing to do. I definitely have to set up a personal website and put up some sort of portfolio up there. I have to start promoting my service through content creation, and plan B would be plan A actually would be to continue applying for jobs so I can afford rent. Other things on my mind for the next month would be answering emails, performing my civic duties, filling out a application to be able to teach English in Korea. And if that doesn't work, get a food handling permit, apply for food service jobs. Because I want to move out. I need to be able to afford that rent. Do more illustrations and develop more. I need to get back into a routine. I think that's what helps me most, is to have that routine structure. And yeah, that's it. I don't know when the next video will be. I don't want to make promises, but hopefully, not hopefully, but definitely there will be another update next month. Thank you for sitting through this very dull presentation. See you next time.